Hey man, what it is, this is Deem and I am your host, and this is By Any Means. There go to PayPal at Deem by any means. There go to Cash App, $ Deem by any means. Y'all already know what I'm about to say. I don't care if you leave $1, $10, $1,000. It's much, much, much appreciated. Errol Spence and Sebastian Fundora has been announced. Let's go. Um, this is a fight that's very dangerous for both, and we gonna get into all of it. I want to say this from the beginning though, because Sebastian Fundora is fighting Errol Spence, even though there's no way that Tim Tszyu or any of them would be ready to fight. They're going to strip Sebastian Fundora for fighting Errol Spence. I believe which one is it? A WBC, I think. Whatever one of them other belts Earl and Sebastian Fundora will be fighting for, but that WBO belt be getting dropped. So even though Terrence Crawford is fighting Magnemov for the interim WBO, that's whoever win that fight is going to be the full title holder, basically. So just to let y'all know. So whoever went out of Terrence Crawford and Magnemov is going to be the full time, the full champion at that division. So basically, you won't be able to get undisputed at that division unless you beat whoever win that fight. So let's talk about it, man. For Sebastian Fundora, I love it off of what he did with Tim Tszyu, even though a lot of people, including myself, think he was losing that fight, but that cut changed everything. And this would be the biggest name that he's fought, and it'd be something that if he could win this fight, it'd do wonders for Sebastian Fundora's career because when you technically beat Tim Tszyu and then you beat Earl Spence, you gotta be, you can say what you want about the man, but you gotta deal with that with a grain of salt. Sebastian Fundora being 6'6", I mean, a volume puncher. The only thing is Sebastian Fundora is an inside fighter, and I believe that that'll play into Earl Spence's hands. That's the one thing, the pro of Earl Spence fighting him. Now, Earl, the part that I'm weary about, y'all know Earl is my guy, one of my favorite fighters, my number two, number three favorite fighter, okay? And that's just because he got dog and everything that he's shown throughout the years. They're all a respect. Everything that he's done, I believe that he deserves that type of credit because he's been putting on for a while now and making big fights and giving us a lot to watch in boxing. But just the inactivity again, another year off, and I know a lot of people be like, Dean, well, after he got beat up like that, he might need a year off. Yeah, maybe, but he was already a year and a half off prior to that, and then so forth and so forth. So he could have had this fight a little while ago, but he had the cataract surgery and all that, and that pushed it back. So this would be more than a year that he would have been off. And that's the part that I'm wary about because Earl has never fought nobody with Sebastian Fundora's height, Sebastian Fundora's reach. And Earl didn't even look the best against Terrence Crawford with Terrence Crawford reach and how he was extending on them punches and keeping them at the end of his jab and things like that. So I got to beat, but the good thing is Sebastian Fundora is not going to use his height like that. But we was all surprised when Sebastian Fundora fought Tim Tszyu, and he was kind of using his height, not the whole time, but he was doing it more than we've seen him do it in other fights. What that tells me is that he understands what he's going up against. So I think it's a dangerous fighter for both because if Sebastian Fundora do not use that jab and use his height and pick his spots, it's going to be a short night for him. Now the only thing is, and now because if he start doing that inside fighting and all that, now he playing in Earl Spence ball house, and I don't think that he can withstand the pressure and the heat that Earl Spence going to bring on him. Especially Earl Spence is looking for redemption, and you can never, deny the eye of the tiger, the heart of a champion. That means something. He coming back to prove something to the world. You could clearly see when they was next to each other, the height advantage is drastic. The height advantage is drastic. So I would love to see how Earl Spence would attack him. Because last time I seen Earl, he ain't really had no pop on his punches. Even when he was sitting down, I didn't like how he looked. And I was watching him train and hit the mitts not that long ago. And I'm not gonna lie, y'all, Earl didn't look that impressive. He looked at unsharp. He looked very slow. He just didn't look like the typical Errol. And he's away from Derrick James now with all this going on. So I don't even know as far as I think I've heard. I think maybe he with Jermel's trainer now. I think that's what I heard. But I mean, last time we saw Jermel, it's not like that was a training exhibition or something to be proud of. So I got a lot of questions when it come to Errol Spence, though, y'all, that I don't necessarily have with Sebastian Fundora. I just know Sebastian Fundora is not going to try to use his height the whole time. If he uses his height and get on this bicycle, he could win this fight against Errol Spence. And I never thought I would say this. But I'm not the most confident in what Errol Spence is bringing to the table from what I saw last from him. It's not just that your last fight and all that. No, it's how he looked in his last fight that I'm very concerned about. So I've really had, this is a 50-50 fight if I ever seen one. Just because normally this wouldn't be a 50-50 fight. I would pick Errol Spence by landslide. But I'm also a fan, and I keep telling y'all get on me about Tank and all. I keep telling y'all I'm a real fan of boxing. Now, Errol is my second or third favorite fighter, him and Jerron Ennis, however you want to swap that out. But that's my guy, nonetheless. But you don't hear me up here right now lying for the man or over exaggerating and trying to not keep it 100. This is a fight that he could definitely lose, And I'm not mad at him for taking this fight. If it's anybody that's going to be a big test for you besides a Tim Tszyu at that division, maybe Virgil Ortiz or somebody, but I don't think he's ready for a Virgil Ortiz type of fight right now. Like, you know what I'm saying? But at the same time, Sebastian Fundora ain't nothing to be played with because he a volume puncher. He can get in that inside. He can hurt you. Sebastian Fundora can knock you out. Absolutely, he can. And that's the dangerous part. Like I said, you could say what you want about Sebastian Fundora, but he beat Tim Tszyu. And we all know if it wasn't for that cut, Tim Tszyu probably would have won that fight. But it wasn't like it was just a landslide, like Fundora wasn't doing no work to even make it close, because cut or not, Fundora was doing enough where even if Tim Tszyu was dominating him so much, if he had to cut, it still wouldn't have mattered if that was the case. He was putting in that work. Like I told y'all, he was using his jab in the straight and using his height more than we have seen him do in other fights. The guy is 6'6". I don't know why he doesn't do that, but that's not for me to figure out. I don't understand. You're the tallest guy in the division and you try to be an inside fighter. That never made sense to me about Sebastian Fundora. Like, what a waste of height and talent. If you're going to sit up there and do that, my guy, you need to be more Tyson Fury. You got to apply that. Use your height to your advantage, my guy. You are 6'6" with a Lord knows how long. I don't even feel like looking it up. But I know he got a 80-plus arm reach, I'm pretty sure. So you got to use that, especially against smaller fighters like Errol Spence who want to get inside. You got, like, Errol is going to put him in a position where he has no choice but to do that. But if he does do it and be very consistent, I got to see how Errol Spence look like with his pop. If I had true faith in Errol Spence power right now, y'all, I would be picking this fight differently. But I don't. I seen him, even when he was winding up on his punches against Terrence Crawford, it did not look impressive. It did not look effective, y'all. I saw him hitting the pads and he looked slow. He looked slow. He looked stagnant. He looked like his feet was in quicksand. So those are major, major, major concerns for me from a fighter, especially after getting beat up like he got beat up. So I don't even know where his confidence is at right now. And I believe in Errol. I know he a dog, so I don't doubt that he lacking confidence, but I can't sit up there and say I know for sure. I would be lying to y'all. I would be lying to the public if I said that to you. So I'm not going to even sit up there and do that. But I'll just tell you this. I think this is a 50-50 fight. I'm leaning towards Errol Spence because that's my guy. I got to lean towards Errol Spence because I believe he's going to come back, better than ever. I'm hoping that everything we're seeing is just smoke and mirrors. But at the same time, he did look a little heavy. At the same time, I don't know where his shape at. At the same time, I don't know how much he been in the gym or hasn't been in the gym. And then he dealing with a lot because he's switching trainers. So a lot, all that. Oh, you got. It's so many factors to factor in when it comes to Errol Spence. That's what makes this not an easy fight to pick because Sebastian Fundora ain't just no slouch, and he's going to have a lot that he wants to prove because he's fighting the biggest name of his career, Errol Spence Jr. This might have the most eyes that he's had on his career. It's going to be pay-per-view, the whole nine. He probably be the main event. Ain't no probably about it. They going to be the main event. It's just like it's a lot that you got to factor in, and that's why I'm a little on the fence about this fight. But what I do know about this fight, though, y'all, a lot of questions will be answered. A lot of questions will be answered from both fighters. How good Sebastian Fundora is, how good Errol Spence is. Both fighters, we will get major answers about that. And then, like I said, Bud, because to me, Bud was gonna get this belt anyway. So I'm not even mad at the WBO that much. I mean, to be honest with you, but at the same time, because I think that Bud was going to beat Sebastian Fundora anyway. So he instead now he got to actually fight the guy to get both belts. You dig what I'm saying? I mean, to get one of the belts. Now he actually having a real title shot. So instead of fighting Sebastian Fundora and being an interim, then you fight Fundora and you could get both belts. Now he going to just have that WBO and still got to fight a Sebastian Fundora and stuff any damn way. Whoever, him and Errol, this could really set up for a rematch, yo. We could see Bud Crawford and Errol Spence now, because if Errol Spence win this fight, now there you go. Now we could play ball. Now both fighters got belts. Now they both switch divisions. Hopefully, Bud Crawford will drop them 147 belts and life can continue. And then we'll really go see who's the best at 154 and what they doing. Jermell Charlo said that he's going to be the champion in recess. He said that he's going to come back, but we don't know how that's going to play out. So 154 is interesting because it's a lot of different storylines at 154, a lot of unanswered questions that I think that we about to get a lot of answers to. So y'all already know what this is, man. Deem by any means, and I holla at y'all.